All right, John Anthony, what is on the rundown for a What If Wednesday, brother?
I've got a set of air quotes here I'm going to use, okay? So here we go. What if a threat, air quotes, of the teams considering, air quotes, all options hadn't been made? What if a threat of the teams considering all options hadn't been made in this election?
Well, I still think the no vote would have won. But I think what the threats down the home stretch, and, you can say they're not threats, but the reality is this. There were threats. It started off with Mark Donovan when he made comments to Woke 41 about, we have to look at all options. And I do think by the time Mark Donovan came on our show this week, I think part of him realized that was probably a mistake because he was much more contrite and he explained it much better than he did on Woke 41. So I think he realized that after the fact, but the damage had been done. And then Sly James, he continued with that as well. Sly James was one of the top advisors for the vote yes. And listen, that's who Sly is. I know Sly. We've worked together with KCTV5. I mean, we've debated all the time when it comes to doing work together on KCTV5. But, Sly, like, he is who he is, right? He's not going to change. And that rubs some people the wrong way. And then when you add in you don't do what we say, we're out, we're leaving, we're looking elsewhere. We got to explore what's in our best interests. Okay, so it's really not about a partnership. You can't preach partnership and then basically treat it like an abusive relationship. That's not a partnership. And I still think Vote No would have won, but when the threats started coming out, that really made people dig their heels in. And I think a lot of people on the fence said, go pound sand. I'm not putting up with this crap. And that's what helped lead to a 16-point blowout loss, John Anthony.
All right. How about this one? What if the Chiefs and the Royals had different advisors?
They would have had a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. They would have had a chance if going back 6 to 12 months, they had competent people who had the pulse of the community in their inner circles. They didn't. That became very evident over the last few weeks. Whether it's the guys at Axiom who are having a tough run. I mean, can you find a group that's done less with more than Axiom with Ron DeSantis' campaign? How much did they pay per vote in Iowa to get their butts smoked? And now this on the vote yes side, I mean, they are having a rough, go back to the Iowa caucuses. It has been a brutal stretch for the Axiom folks. Big shot political consultants. Woo, boy, it's been ugly. So you would have at least understood why this was going to be much more of an uphill battle than many on the yes side perceived it to be. And that's one of the biggest things. And I've talked a lot about it. I've written about it on social media, on my X page, extensively. The yes people were caught up in a bubble. The consultant class was caught up in a bubble. This was not your run-of-the-mill, the Chiefs are Super Bowl champs, of course the yes will win. There were so many things on the ground that they were out of touch on. Now, had they subscribed to our podcast or listened to this show every day, they would have been a little more in tune. I'm not saying that to be rah-rah, look at us. I'm just saying we talked to you. We talked about these issues that people were facing and they were dealing with and why this was far from a slam dunk across both sides of the yes and the no vote. And they didn't see it. They just didn't see it. And they missed the mark and they played their hand wrong at every turn. And it cost them far worse than I ever would imagine last night with a 16-point loss. What's next on What If Wednesday, John?
What if the Royals and the Chiefs reappear on the ballot next year?
Well, I want to say they got a much better chance if they, once again, get things in line, if they have a more transparent negotiation and deal and process, if they come off a little more humble, forthright, truly like partners in this process and in this operation. And for too long, people didn't feel like they were being partners. And that's something that, came back to bite them in a huge way. So if they get back on the ballot next year, if, the economy continues to hopefully improve, if you get one guy in office, it'll definitely improve. I think that will go a long way. Time can heal wounds as well on this. So I don't think it's a done deal. I just think that there were so many missteps along the way. They can get it done. Now, some of you claim I'm advocating for the yes side by saying that. No, I'm not advocating for it. I'm not picking a horse in the race. I'm just simply saying there is a chance that they can get this thing done next year if it does go back on the ballot and if they handle the process better and if some other things break in their favor as well. But they ran into a perfect storm. The timing was awful, and it cost them.